Levi and Lego collaborated once to make a jacket that you could put Legos on, and people were like, sweet, but why? In 2019, Harry Potter fans would see their favorite movie they watch annually right before winter get put on a bunch of Vans shoes. Okay, Lego jacket, that's cool. I can deal with that. Harry Potter shoes, kind of okay. I'll just learn to accept it because the person that's filming this, I think, equally likes Harry Potter alike, okay? But there was a time where collabs, they felt a little bit out of left field, okay? And that was when Toyota / OnlyFans sister Scion came out with Subaru. And what came out of it was the Subaru FRS and Scion BRZ. Subaru BRZ, Scion FRS. GT86. Christ. Okay, this was a car that finally gave some diversity to the playing field of entry-level sports cars in the early 2010s. A two-door coupe that wasn't, for once, a Nissan Z. A car that provided some good looks, and still to this day, I would say, looks damn good. A car that spawned an entire community of automotive enthusiasts to say, you know what? The engine may be on the brink of detonation, but Pandem just released a new kit, and I think it looks sick. Ladies and gentlemen, there was a time where you wanted to know about the car, but now we're here to talk about how to modify it. We're talking about how to modify a first generation Scion FRS / Subaru BRZ. Breathe. Subscribe. Check out Martini Works. Martini Works is a place where you can learn how to build your car from people who already learned how to build it. So why was the FRS / BRZ birthed into this world? That's a great question. Toyota and Subaru officially launched the collaboration way back in 2005, publicly, after finding an opportunity to develop a joint car that could share resources from both brands. This was coming off the crush of the sports car demand in the early 2000s and right at the impending failure of the market in 2007. That was called the recession. It hurt. I still remember looking at my iPod Touch and looking at all the numbers being read and saying, wow, that looks like it really sucks, only to find out that it did suck for my parents, okay? The companies needed to find a way to come together to grow revenue and go into a younger market without having to invest all the cash themselves independently. And what we saw was Toyota invest its resource in the car's exterior, interior, design, suspension, while Subaru would take on the responsibilities of its suspension design as well, chassis, and powertrain. We saw people like Tetsuya Tada and Toshio Masuda working together on the design with really bringing all the pieces into one respective platform. It was awesome. This car was incredible, okay? It had one goal, to make an affordable sports car using a low center of gravity engine, a rear-wheel drive layout that carried the energy and excitement of past sports cars like the Mazda Miata and the Porsche Boxer. Okay, now we know the Boxer engine that's present in the first gen as a slightly temperamental engine, depending on where you buy it and who owned it before you. But at the time, the designation of a 2-liter Boxer engine with its low center of gravity had an absolutely excellent weight distribution for its wheelbase. It was compact, it was free revving, and it allowed the driver to experience the road versus the weight underneath it. If you get people that really drive these cars hard, they will still say it's one of the best driving experiences that you can find under $30,000. But now you're thinking about owning one. You're thinking about how to modify one 10 years later. A decade. Ow. I remember seeing one of these for the very first time and I thought it was the coolest shit in the world. Modifying a first generation FRS / BRZ / GT86 starts at looking yourself in the mirror and saying to yourself, look at me, I promise to take care of my BRZ. And if that means sacrificing mods for engine life, then I will do that. I'm kidding, do whatever you want. But if it's something to keep in mind, because this is a thing. These cars are famous for being modified to oblivion, and they do look pretty fucking sick when they're done right. Wide body kits of every brand exist for this car. 3-piece wheels and carbon fiber everything will make you, a new FRS / BRZ owner, a little bit overwhelmed at times because there's so many people that have already done this car. And you'll think that you want to stand out with this platform too, so you should do the same thing to your car, but even more extreme. Big communities typically equal big risks to stand out, and it's going to be hard to do that with this platform. So instead, stand out by using as much of the car as you can. You're not going to really stand out there anymore because everything's already been done on the car. The greatest mod for this car is the recall. Not all partnerships work perfectly, and that was seen back when the early gens were recalled for faulty engine valve springs causing an entire engine failure. Cool, easy. Recalls happen all the time, okay? But the problem was that Toyota techs had no idea how to work on Subaru engines. And as a result, techs would use too much sealant, causing the engines to fail. Again, there's tons of information out there on that. That is like the 30-second explanation. The good news is that they fixed the issue in the new GR86, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with the sealant that they did on that car from factory either. Fix your sealant shit. There's over 400,000 cars that had this issue, and our favorite two-door coupe was one of many of the models impacted. If that is not fixed on your car, go get it fixed. The follow-up issues on these cars can and should leave a bad taste in your mouth, as Subaru issued the following statement in regards to the follow-up failures, okay? Because remember, failed once, took it to the dealership, they fucking super glued that shit shut, blew up again. They said this: Subaru strongly disagrees with the allegations made in the lawsuit, and we have filed with Toyota a joint motion to dismiss the plaintiff's consolidated amendment complaint. Subaru spokesperson Dominic Infante told The Drive. On the recall side, we have completed about 75% of them and still encourage owners to bring their cars to a retailer to have the recall performed, completely ignoring the fact that the people don't know how to put the engine back together, okay? So, to get that sorted, get it done right. Do your own research, find your own local communities that can help you get that done right. Now, once you get that done, be ready to rock, baby. Okay, boom, exhaust, Tome, sounds lovely. Parent and Nvidia are also solid options. I love the sound of these cars, and even without forced induction, a proper exhaust can make these cars sound so much more fun to rev out. Unequal length headers are the way to go with this platform. And while you're under there, I would advise looking at your inevitable leaks and repair them as needed, because sometimes that just happens. Because of the repairs and because of the follow-up repairs and recalls, a lot of times things just get a little leaky. I jump into like basic parent or InGen intake systems as well, just by the way. Remember, this is where we're gonna talk about goosebumps, because how you can build this car is very different, okay? If you'd like to show your car, please go to page 36. If you'd like to drift your car, go to page 59. If you'd like to track your car, please go to page 22, because depending on which way you take your car build, it's gonna change what you do to these things. I think that's a cat hair. Show cars can do anything, okay? If you're not modifying the engine much, which you probably won't if you're just looking to show it, a Rocket Bunny kit, underglow, clear black headlights, you know, pick your brand, whatever you wanna do. In terms of show car setups, unequal length header with an open flash to get rid of the torque dip if you experience in the FRS and BRZ first gens. If you wanna keep a stock body, which I think is equally dope, you can apparently put a V1 Rocket Bunny diffuser and it will fit the stock body as well. You still get a little bit more aggressive aero and you don't have to go full wide body. Now, if you buy show parts, buy them from Martini Works. If you plan to drift your car, that's where you can have some good old fun, okay? You're gonna find yourself some shit wheels. Doesn't really matter what wheels you get. Buy some Kenda tires. Get yourself some racing seats to keep your plantation planted. Throw a short throw shifter in there if you want to. Bump up the power with some headers, intake, and a tune, and absolutely thrash this car. If you find a good deal, these actually do make excellent entries into the drift world. I wouldn't recommend really doing anything else unless you want to run like an ASD Hydra of some kind with like an inline rear brake. The cars act as a great start and intro into drifting. They just don't always have the perfect engine for it. And honestly, as scary as it sounds, I've heard lots of people who run these cars for drifting either end up throwing an LS of some kind into it for affordability after the car blows up, or if they got a shell from it originally, or if you want to be a big baller and you start entering the pro spec space, I see a lot of people start throwing 1Js and 2Js in these things and completely just transforming the car into pretty much a Supra. But that's likely a little bit past what you and me are looking to do here. What I can say is that the need to power up for the drift or track days on your OEM engine will eventually happen in time. And usually this is where people start to run into forced induction kits. Now, the car does feel a little underwhelming and you can grow out of it quickly. It's a bit like the Miata, but the Miata has so many racing classes where when you tap it out, you're already kind of into wheel-to-wheel racing and you get the energy of driving the Miata from the excitement of competing in the Miata. And there's not really something with that in terms of the BRZ or the FRS. You don't have that next step. I've seen some track cars opt for like a Treadstone performance engineering turbo kit or something similar, but really what it comes down to is that you have to be comfortable with spending at least $5,000 in just the parts for a turbo kit. If I were to rate why you'd modify this car, I'd say it's best off as a street car with some show car use if you want to. It makes for a really fun autocross car if you invest your time into the connectivity of the car and those mods. You're gonna spend more time really narrowing in on maneuverability stability mods, track, turn, steering, angle, things like that. You're gonna wanna get into some of the high performance driving, okay? But the value starts to sag as you become a better driver. That's where even when you go into the unequal length headers, the Grim Speed intake, the ECU tech tune, you can get some open flash goodness in there if you want to as well, it still will start to not feel enough. Now, you can get some solid aero, Fortunato coilovers or BCs, and the tires will be dependent on what you use them for. We love Continentals for daily use. We love Michelin for track use, and we love Kenda or something similar for drift use. Now, I see people say,
I want to do wide body. I want 700 horsepower. I want sequential transmission.
bop, 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 bop. Pump your brakes. What you need to do first is understand what you want the platform to do at the end of the build, if you want it to drift, drag, or just show. It helps with you knowing where you want to sink your money into, because no matter where you look, the community and these cars, they will take a lot of your cash. You want to invest in things that really make your engine happier and keep the car more planted. This car was initially meant to be a driving, affordable sports car coupe. So how you get the most out of these little coupes is investing in that. So how do you modify a BRZ or FRS? Easy, baby. Go take out a loan for like $15,000. Buy yourself a BRZ or FRS with right around 50,000 miles and immediately realize that you bought the future KA24 Nissan 240SX. Jel said that and I 130% agree. You'll find your limitations quick with this car if you aim to drive the crap out of it, but you'll love it anyway. You'll peek at some like Enkis or Gram lights for wheels from martiniworks.com. Then you're gonna go into some coilovers and some grip mods, because that is where this platform really starts to shine. By the time you're all said and done, focusing on driver feedback items, you'll realistically spend right around $5,000. Wheels, tires, sway bars, coilovers, keeping as much of a budget as you can. With the other $7,000-ish you'd have left between a $25,000 and $30,000 budget, you'll have the option of buying some racing seats, a quick release steering wheel, and some short throw shifter mods. I'd save the last of your budget after that to go for budgeting for track days, drift days, autocross, and tires. Comparing that to other cars in the market, the only other thing that you can really get that could do the same in its own weird way is probably a Nissan 350Z. But I would argue that the FRS and BRZ is still a fun platform and it gives a little bit of a fresher face. But more importantly, if you're looking to modify your first gen FRS or BRZ and you want to see how others have built theirs, be sure to check them out over on our build threads at martiniworks.com, where we're bringing back build threads and making it easy to build your car by learning how others built their car. I'm Alex Martini with 2 underscores on Instagram. We hope you enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comments what you'd like us to see next, and we will see you later. Adios.